Everybody, thanks for watching. So now, when you look at militaries, militaries who have existed, for, centuries, you have to understand one of the things you had to do back then as a king was to really motivate people to want to fight for you, to join the military, same as today. Now, before, a lot of people don't understand that militaries and people who serve kings was rooted in religion, that people actually believed that these kings had the divine right to rule. And this is what people believed. And a lot of times when we look at things dealing with kings and queens or what have you, a lot of people don't come to that understanding that this stuff goes back to religion. Because how else could you explain a person having some kind of right to rule over everybody else? What makes you special from everybody else? Is it the fact that you have a bunch of money, which is, what it comes down to as far as on a material sense? Of course, people did things for the crown to get, money, to get paid, to take care of themselves and their families because, they was paying. But you had people who chose to basically give up their lives and give up their freedom or what have you to serve a royal family. They did so because they have spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs in that family, that they were somehow doing something good. God saved the queen and, for the crown or for the kingdom, you gave up your life, you fought or what have you. So when you fast forward to modern day and we look at warfare, and we look at the way war has been waged during our time and a lot of the reasons for these wars. And a lot of people still fail to understand that these are things that has been set up to happen so that war takes place. So we've been seeing so much, salute the military. Thank you for your service. Military this, military that. And so many people is caught up in this whole military hype that they are not seeing the facts. They're not seeing the truth. And that you have a group of people who have been completely brainwashed and trained to go out and kill innocent people. And this is what's taking place. So when we just look at what took place in Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan or what have you, that you had people living under whatever conditions they was living under. And it wasn't as if the American military came in there and made their lives better, as that has been a proven fact on CNN itself, coming out and saying that the countries was actually doing well, way better before they were taken down. Gaddafi and Saddam or what have you, that the countries, GDP wise and just economically were better when these people were in power. So it wasn't as if they, militaries came in there to help and save the people, which is what our whole excuse was. We're going in there for weapons of mass destruction. We're going to basically take out Assad because he's, killing his people. Same thing with Muammar Gaddafi. He was killing his people, supposedly. And it was supposed to be going in there and helping the people. And then you look at the state of these countries today and you see that there's no help. These countries are completely left in ruins, destroyed. And it's crazy. So we see the true purpose as the same in Afghanistan, that the militaries are going in there and draining these countries of natural resources. And this is what the whole thing was about in the first place. And they sold the American people a story to get the American people to basically back to go along with a war. And you had these lies being told to the American people that cost thousands of lives and caused people to basically lose, the little bit of possessions that they had. Now, you go back to medieval times and before, the soldiers saw immediate rewards, not for themselves only, but for the kingdom, for the people. So if you went into another territory and you conquered it for whatever reason, then immediately you have access to all, of this new wealth, a new territory, a new place to, set down roots or what have you. And now your civilization just basically took over another civilization. And there are the rewards right there. You can see those rewards, and it's not the same. If you go back to even World War I, World War II, and start looking at what took place, what was the benefit for the American people? And we have been sold on the fact that we have to go into certain countries to stop weapons of mass destruction because we're going to somehow be attacked. Or we have to go and basically defend the country because it's going to somehow be attacked. And this is what they have to keep in our psyche and keep us in fear and keep us believing that at any moment, terrorists can come in and attack and cause harm in any place in America. And we got to be vigilant of that. And we need an American military to prevent that. Now, understanding, one, that this is something that is possible and you should always have a military on alert. This is not the case. The case is we are not staying home and guarding the country. We're going out and conquering other countries and taking their resources. And the benefits, the spoils of these wars are going back into the hands of a small group of people. And you having the people who actually fought the war, the soldiers. Some of them gave limbs, some gave lives, coming home, ending up homeless on the street, suffering from all kinds of mental issues, PTSDs, and all kinds of traumas that they endured during war. And they are not given help, treatment, money. Billions of dollars are made during the wars. And these people have to come home with nothing. So they are not seeing the benefits of war. And then you add that with the fact that you have the American people who was not seeing the benefit of us going into Iraq. What did we get from that? What did we get from all the soldiers going into Iraq, capturing Saddam and, destroying that beautiful country because it was actually okay before we went in there? And what did the American people get? What did we get exactly? We found out later that it was a lie. There was no weapons of mass destruction. What happened? We didn't gain anything as a people. We lost privileges. We lost freedoms. You had a Patriot Act passed because of what happened on 9/11 that had absolutely nothing to do with Saddam. And you had so many freedoms taken away that we actually, didn't benefit from anything that happened or any of these wars. But we have been so distracted by entertainment and what happens in the entertainment world and the fact that you have to go to work and you have to worry about other things that's, right in your immediate everyday life, that a lot of people don't understand that, nothing positive was gained from these wars. And now you have the dumbing down and the mental brainwashing of a lot of people in positions of poverty, in families that have a long military history that is going to be faced with the choice of going into the military or not. You have most people who go into the military, they do so because they come from a family of people who have joined and have served. You have a lot of people who join because they basically want a new chapter in their life. They want to change. They don't want to go to college. They don't want to basically follow in their parents' footsteps. They want to, go their own route. You have a lot of people who get suckered into patriotism, who just want to join because they feel like they want to fight for a country that they love, that they believe they know everything about. And people have many different reasons of why they join. And once you get in, and you understand the system because you get immersed in it, they train you to be a certain way, to think a certain way, to be all about the Corps, to be all about, the Navy, the Army, Air Force, and what have you. And everything is just based on that. Plain and simple, your whole world is consumed with that fact that you want to be the best soldier that you can be. And a lot of people pride themselves on that. But a lot of them don't understand the overall reason for their existence, for a military, and what they're actually going to be doing when they go out there, which is going to be aiding in, killing innocent people and stealing their resources. And this is what the military is doing. And we have been so suckered with this whole bullshit Patriotism Act, whole patriotism, ideology that, if you're not a patriot, you're not an American, and, just something wrong. You have to build that whole lie. They have to do that because everything relies on them having the military to go out and execute their agenda. Without the military, they can't get shit done. They need the military. They need the National Guard. They need their guards. They need their bodyguards. They need people in positions of police authority, FBI, CIA, what have you. All these entities, all these different groups are all a part of the same, the same whole that's basically being used to execute the plans of the elite. And it's just that simple. So when you think about this whole martial law thing and, something about, a civil war possibly happening down the line to where you're going to have military personnel basically in combat with civilians. And if you are in the military now or think about joining, you have to think about your family. You got to think about your family. You got to think about if you really understand that you're going to have, if this stuff ever happens, people in the military, possibly killing your family members or detaining your family members or treating your family members like shit because of the position that you take, that you took, that you chose to take. And that all this stuff is not going to benefit any of us in the long run. See, the people in the military have a very tough decision to make, as well as the people in the police force and everywhere else. To me, they are the biggest key to everything because it's going to be them that is going to be used to help execute any kind of future plans against the people. It always has been the military. And this is why you have in third world countries, you have military coups. You have where the general or the person who's running the military sees that the leadership is inadequate, unfit, that they are corrupt, and that a change must be done. Now you have this general or what have you who has control over the entire military. He can make a snap decision at any time to go ahead and overthrow the entire structure because he is at the command, he has the control of the military, which is why in America, the president is commander in chief. That's just how it is. So we're talking about a military situation and you have a person who is not qualified in most cases, never served in the military in a lot of cases, at the helm of the military. So this is outrageous when you look at people who have control over so much power to be able to send people out to their deaths based upon, bullshit. Now you take somebody like Trump, who have received 5 draft deferments in the Vietnam War, where, he had 1 medical, 4 academic deferments to where he didn't have to basically fight in the Vietnam War. And lucky for him, he didn't, because he probably would have died, because around the time he would have been drafted was one of the most, brutal, bloodiest times as far as the fighting in Vietnam, where you had so many soldiers killed. I read where supposedly on the day he graduated from college, it was supposedly 40 American soldiers that died the day of his graduation. So you had rich people, because remember his dad was rich. You had a lot of rich kids that was able to actually dodge the draft and who didn't serve. And you have a lot of these politicians who have kids who have not served. They wouldn't dare send their children into the military to go and die for what's taking place. And a lot of people have done so. And the messed up part is a lot of people do so based upon patriotism that is a false patriotism. And again, people don't understand what has taken place in this country, and that, as I said before, you have this country being controlled by international bankers, which that's a fact, and people who are not Americans, who never were Americans. And they're sending us out and using patriotism and the American people to go out and conquer the rest of the world for them and their party, their people. And everybody's running around and everybody's so outraged about kneeling, for the national anthem and, everything like that, when it's ridiculous. It's absolutely, stupid when you really understand what we're talking about as far as what this military has been doing, over the last 60, 70 years. And that is the purpose of the military, to basically go out and fulfill the agenda of people who have global domination aspirations, to not so much go out and do anything that's really going to benefit us. Because I know one thing, if I'm sending my kid out, if I'm going out there to risk my life, I better see an immediate benefit from it once I come back home. What are we going out to basically get? And again, we have been set up for war because we have set ourselves up in so many different positions around the world as far as U.S. military bases to occupy and protect resources and to surround certain countries just in case these people feel like they want to start another war or want to take a country. So you're going to have possibly millions of people go to war against North Korea or Iran eventually, or Russia eventually, because a small group of people have an agenda. And that agenda is not going to benefit any one of us. And this is what we got to understand. So me, who served, who actually understand how this military works and how all this stuff goes down, I can't see any honor in destroying civilizations of innocent people in their homes. So when we look at the news and we see what's going on, you look at, the internet, and we see a lot of these homes, apartment buildings in Syria bombed, babies smashed to death, men, women, children smashed because, the building they lived in came crashing down on them. How is that going to benefit us? What is the purpose of that? The purpose of, completely ridding countries of, their inhabitants to go in there and get what that's going to benefit us as a whole, the country. Again, we're not seeing those benefits. And we can go back, as I said before, to ancient times, to go back to medieval times even, and see what was the purpose for military back then. It made more sense than it does today, especially since America has so much in abundance and we are able to basically produce what we need to produce. And we did at one point do that, but we don't anymore. So what is the point? So again, what you had was this country taken over by international bankers, people who run the Federal Reserve Bank, and they moved every single thing that this country could use to create wealth, to repay any kind of debts that we had or owe to the Federal Reserve or anybody else. They moved all those jobs, those companies, a lot of those corporations out. This is one of the things that Ronald Reagan did when he became president. Factories closed down, jobs moved because they didn't want this country to be producing enough wealth to pay off the debt so that the Federal Reserve would basically remain in power in this country and that they would get enough people in power to basically make sure that that never changes. And this is what we are seeing. And it has not changed. So, by now they have so many people in positions of power to where they can basically go ahead and make policy or break policy and do whatever they want. So the presidency, again, as I talked about before, is a puppet post. All this stuff is a song and a dance. Now, we have been watching Donald Trump for a long time. Long time people have been seeing Trump. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, I understand what's going on. And when you pay attention, you will as well. But one, Donald Trump, even when you go back and just look at the picture, he's been cool with so many black celebrities for a very long time.